Good afternoon, beautiful people. Today we are digging into the latest political soap opera, this time involving who the Daily Beast refers to as MAGA beauty queen. The woman in question is Lindsey Halligan, a newly appointed U.S. attorney under President Trump. And apparently her private signal messages with a journalist got leaked, twisted, and turned into a scandal. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Nelly Miranda.
Trump's handpicked U.S. attorney in Virginia is attracting scrutiny for another reason. Lindsey Halligan reportedly spent some 33 hours on and off during a recent weekend texting with a reporter. Not in regards to Comey's case, but that of another one of the president's targets, New York Attorney General Letitia James. It was reporting on that case that kickstarted this back and forth that you're about to see. Let me explain. Anna Bower is a senior editor for the nonprofit publication Lawfare. She recently posted about a New York Times story concerning the case that was being made against the New York Attorney General, and Halligan is the person, of course, who presented that case to the grand jury. Less than an hour after Bower posted about it, Halligan messaged her directly on the encrypted app Signal that reporters often use. And according to Bower, Lindsey Halligan wrote, quote, "Anna, Lindsey Halligan here. You're reporting things that are simply not true. Thought you should have a heads up." What followed that initial text was more than a day of text insisting that the reporting from the New York Times was inaccurate. Now, Bower hadn't reported that, but because she had repeated it online, Halligan was going back and forth with her on the merits of that reporting. Then, after a few hours, Halligan wrote, "By the way, everything I ever sent you is off record. You're not a journalist, so it's weird saying that, but just letting you know." Bower responded, quote, "I'm sorry, but that's not how this works. You don't get to say that in retrospect." She then tonight posted the entire text chain to Lawfare.
As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Okay, so Anna Bower, senior editor at Lawfare, published an article yesterday titled "Anna, Lindsey Halligan here." She starts the article by letting us know that on October 11th, one cozy Saturday afternoon, Lindsey Halligan sent her a message on Signal, and the message said, "Anna, Lindsey Halligan here. You are reporting things that are simply not true. Thought you should have a heads up." Anna said she verified that it was in fact Lindsey Halligan. They began texting, and this exchange went on for 33 hours. On and off, obviously. Apparently, Halligan wanted to clarify something about Bower's reporting and said her messages were off the record. But here's the catch. It was too late. She said that after sending them, and they never agreed that the conversation was off the record.
And right before we were about to publish, she also additionally reached out to me again. And as you mentioned, claimed that our conversation was off the record. Caitlin, I would encourage people to read the text messages that we published, and they can decide for themselves. But Lindsey Halligan never once suggested that we were off the record. She had reached out to me. You know as well as I do, Caitlin, in dealing with speaking to sources, that the way that it works is there's an agreement, there's a conversation that is had about it. And I never agreed to speak off the record. She never suggested it. I would have been happy to speak with her off the record had she suggested it, but she did not do that here. So I was very surprised when she, suddenly suggested that things were off the record when they in fact were not.
Now, I don't know why on earth Lindsey Halligan decided to message Anna in the first place. Don't get me wrong, I still think a lot of what Anna wrote in that Lawfare article was misleading, given that it appears she did not read paragraphs 9 and 10 of the indictment. But in my opinion, Lindsey had no business reaching out to her in the middle of an active case. Let her lie to her readers in peace. She should have just let the process play out, and if Letitia James is found guilty of mortgage fraud, then let everyone who defended her to the bitter end be the ones left looking stupid. But anyways, let's read some of these text messages. Anna asked Lindsey, "I'm all ears. What am I getting wrong?" And then Lindsey says, "Honestly, so much. I can't tell you everything, but your reporting in particular is just way off. I had to let you know. It is clear that you don't have sources that are accurately telling you what you're writing. Seems clear to me that you just jump to your biased conclusions based off of what you read instead of truly looking into the evidence." Now, that statement, I can agree, because I just can't see how she read the entire indictment and said, nope, I don't know, nothing to see here. Anna then posts screenshots where she highlighted several times a year the people said a great aunt who had purchased the house in 2020 with Miss Thompson in mind would come for an extended stay. Then proceeded to ask, are you saying that something I said in this post is inaccurate? If so, what? So this is the tweet that Anna posted on October 11th. And as you can see, the highlighted portion that I just read is about Letitia James coming to that house for an extended stay.
13 News Now went to the house, but the Attorney General was not there. While city records show the house is owned by a Letitia James, neighbors say it's actually a family who lives there, and they've never seen Letitia James on their street. The Attorney General says she will fight these charges and will come to Norfolk for her first court appearance on October 24th.
So yes, Anna, that's exactly what she's saying. What you highlighted in the post is incorrect because neighbors said that they have never seen Letitia James on their block unless she's going there in the wee hours of the night, and they just so happened to miss her the past 5 years. The thread continues, and Lindsey says, you're assuming exculpatory evidence without knowing what you're talking about. It's bizarre to me. If you have any questions before you report, feel free to reach out to me, but jumping to conclusions does your credibility no good. Anna responded and said, I think I made it clear that my post was based on the New York Times report, not my own reporting. Did they get something wrong? Lindsey shot back and said, yes, they did, but you went with it without even fact-checking anything, and they are disclosing grand jury info, which is not a full representation of what happened. I guess I expect them to do that, but I was surprised by you running with it. Anna continued to act like she had no idea what Lindsey Halligan is talking about and replied, happy to retract or correct anything that is untrue, but I can't do that if I don't know what the supposed error is. Can you be more specific? Okay, the biggest issue I see here is the New York Times completely left out paragraph 9 of the indictment that literally spells out the insurance misrepresentation. They edited out the most damaging paragraph and pretended the whole thing was confusing paperwork, some sort of clerical error, and Anna took it and ran with it, also ignoring paragraphs 9 and 10. And just to loop back on this insurance misrepresentation, remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned the Daily Beast article. It reads, Lindsey Halligan, a former insurance lawyer who Trump appointed as the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia in September, had reached out to Lawfare senior editor Anna Bauer. Okay, so a former insurance lawyer, huh? So she should be able to see clear as day that Letitia James lied on the insurance application when she listed the Norfolk property as owner-occupied, non-seasonal use, right? The Daily Beast portrayed Halligan as some unprofessional rookie who doesn't understand journalism. They even tried to humiliate her by calling her a MAGA beauty queen, as if that somehow disqualifies her from handling a case. They mocked her career history and her loyalty to Trump. I think it is an attempt to delegitimize Lindsey Halligan's credibility because she's connected to Trump. You can almost hear the tone in their writing dripping with condescension. They didn't just critique her handling of communications. They went out of their way to ridicule her credentials, basically calling her unqualified and politically appointed. Yet the same media never blinks when left-wing prosecutors who can't even clear the basic standard of impartiality go after conservatives. We've had years of Democrat-appointed prosecutors leaking to CNN and the Washington Post like it's a part-time job. Remember when Fani Willis's entire investigation against President Trump leaked before the indictment was even filed? The press didn't call that disastrous. They called it brave. That brave woman going after Trump. But now a conservative prosecutor, who's taken on Letitia James, by the way, sends messages to a journalist and suddenly the media treats it like it's a full-blown crisis. Give me a break. Lindsey then went on to call Anna biased, saying, quote, you're biased. Your reporting isn't accurate. I'm the one handling the case, and I'm telling you that. If you want to twist and torture the facts to fit your narrative, there's nothing I can do. Waste to even give you a heads up. Continue to do what you have been, and you'll be completely discredited when the evidence come out. You don't report fairly. Anna continued to defend that she has no idea what Halligan is talking about and that she would gladly correct any errors if she's told what they are. I think that is exactly what Lindsey Halligan should have led with to begin with. She said, "You'll be completely discredited when the evidence come out." Exactly. That's why she didn't have no reason to message Anna to begin with. However, here's Anna Bauer's response to the Justice Department accusing her of being a tattletale after she reached out to them for a comment.
You know, you mentioned that you reached out to the Justice Department. They accused you of trying to tattletale on Lindsey Halligan tonight. I want to read their statement in full because they said, quote, "You clearly didn't get the response you wanted, which was information handed over to you without having to dig into the facts of the case to craft a truthful story. So you thought you'd tattletale to main justice. Lindsey Halligan was attempting to point you to facts, not gossip, but when clarifying that she would adhere to the rules of the law and not disclose grand jury information, you threatened to leak an entire conversation. Good luck ever getting anyone to talk to you when you publish their text." I mean, I read it. I don't think you're threatening to leak it. I just think, you know, to your point, it wasn't an off-the-record conversation.
No, it wasn't. And look, I reached out. I didn't threaten anything. I reached out for comment because I'm a journalist who is publishing a story. And I want to underscore here that why we thought that this was a newsworthy story and why there's great public interest in this is, you know, I'm a legal reporter. I cover the Justice Department. So does everyone in our organization. You know, we're familiar with how things work in terms of reporter and U.S. attorney relationships and reporter and prosecutor relationships. When this exchange happened, it felt so out of the ordinary and so unusual that, you know, it felt like something that really should be published, because here you have someone who is already so highly scrutinized under such pressure with these very high-profile prosecutions, and already knows that, you know, anything that she does is going to be picked apart by defense counsel, even the most minor misstep. And yet here she is on the record messaging with a reporter about an ongoing prosecution, which just does not really happen that much. So we found it to be really remarkable. And over the past few days, we spoke to reporters who cover legal affairs. We spoke to former prosecutors. They have never quite seen an exchange like this, Caitlin. It felt like something that we needed to publish, and we did. There was nothing in terms of leaking anything. It was Lindsey Halligan who approached me.
I think the deeper issue is this obsession with painting conservative women as incompetent or unserious. "I can't believe she texted me, a reporter. It's so outlandish." It's part of a larger narrative when a woman like Lindsey Halligan serves under Trump or challenge a powerful Democrat like Letitia James. The left immediately labels her as unqualified or embarrassing. But when liberal prosecutors bend the law, target political opponents, or violate ethics rules, the media runs defense. They frame it as speaking truth to power. This was never about ethics. It's about control. The left wants to decide who gets to hold power in the legal system. And right now, Lindsey Halligan represents everything the establishment cannot stand. A woman confident enough to stand with Trump and call out Letitia James. I think that's why this article exists. It's damage control. They are afraid that this new DOJ prosecutor might expose what many of us suspect, that Letitia James' mortgage scandal isn't just political theater. It's actual corruption that has been ignored by the mainstream press. So what exactly are these disastrous signal texts? From what has been made public, there's nothing criminal, nothing unethical, just a conversation between a DOJ official and a journalist. The real issue seems to be that Halligan used an encrypted app, which, by the way, is common in both government and journalism circles, and then asked for the chat to be treated as off the record. That's the biggest issue, because she should have led with that. But if you strip away the drama, this entire thing is just another case of selective outrage. Lindsey Halligan tries to clarify coverage with a journalist, and boom, it's front page scandal. A Democrat leaks an entire indictment before the jury's even seated. Silence. Where I stand, if Lindsey Halligan made a rookie mistake in how she handled a conversation with a journalist, fine, she'll learn from it. But the media's obsession with mocking her as a beauty pageant, her background, and her loyalty to Trump is weird. Do you think Lindsey Halligan was targeted because she's a Trump-aligned prosecutor? Or was this just another case of the media pretending to care about ethics only when it benefits them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you got any value from this video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.